Tag, grüezi miteinander. My name is Eve, and on my channel I discuss how to teach your child German when you are not a native German speaker. Today we'll be talking about the general overview of my experience taking A1 to B1 in German with italki and Lingoda, and what happened when my oldest son took a traditional textbook German class. So in A1, you're dipping your toe in the water. You're starting to learn German. You're taught basic things, time. You learn the days, months, the year, vocabulary, genders of the word, how to know the genders of the word, word order, hobbies, transportation, a few modal verbs, and you start to learn how to write an email. So what I found most difficult with the A1 level was introducing myself. I am an adult third culture kid, so my introduction is very complicated because on and off in my childhood, I moved from the US and Switzerland. So yes, I was born in Switzerland. Yes, my dad is Swiss and my mom is Filipino, but I was mostly raised in America, but with influences from both my mom and dad, and then going to Switzerland all the time. My introduction was a bit complicated, but I figured it out. And they always asked in these classes, why are you learning German? And I would just be like, because I'm Swiss. And they wanted more, and I'm like, because I'm Swiss. Like, that's all I got for you. Like, eventually I want to learn Swiss German. That's why I'm learning German. And in Switzerland, they read in German. So the difference between A1 and A2 is A1, you're learning very basic things in German, and then A2, it's a huge grammar push. A2, I really did struggle with, and I had such a hard time with the conjunctive zwei and the passive and genitive. Those were all very difficult for me, but eventually, I took a bunch of classes and it somehow absorbed into my brain. But A2, there's a huge jump with grammar. With B1 lessons, the grammar is not overwhelming to me. You're basically just building off what you learned from A2 with grammar and just a few additional things. But the big difference between A2 and B1 for me is the vocabulary. There is so much vocabulary that you have to learn, and it's just like a giant jump. So a lot of times I will be taking a class and just be overwhelmed by the amount of vocabulary words I have to memorize, and that's why I made sure that this time around, this is my second marathon with Lingoda, is to take a few days off between classes. I don't take a ton of classes in a row anymore because I take time to absorb the words. So this is my new daily routine with the B1 level. I study vocabulary words that I made myself and ones that I bought every single day. So anytime I'm at the table, whether it's for breakfast, lunch, dinner, or just sitting with my children, I will look over my vocabulary. But vocabulary is so important in the B1 level. So I signed my oldest son up for a traditional textbook way of learning German, and I had to buy these super expensive books on Amazon, and then he was in class, and there was one problem. Learning this way for a young child is really boring and overwhelming. And I was watching my son in the class. He just looked bored out of his mind. They're playing these recordings, these pre-recordings of people speaking German. They're doing all these grammar lessons, and it was just overwhelming him. I can see why, because I barely understood what was being taught in class. I will not let my children take these boring textbook ways of learning German, because in my experience from high school, learning a textbook traditional way does not work. So after these classes, I was like, forget it, we're never taking a class like this again. So my oldest son learns with a private tutor once a week. He learns with italki and he learns with me. Fortunately, because I've been working really hard in studying German, I am capable of teaching my son things in German, and I am capable of helping him learn to read in German. I do want my children to be certified in German when they are older. So maybe when they're around 14 or 15, I will probably sign them up for italki classes to help prepare them to take those tests. But I will not sign my children up for a textbook way of learning German, because German learning should not be boring. So that's all I have today. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Dankeschön. Tschüss.